Hey guys, Seeney here, and welcome to another episode on the Australian Wealth Channel. And today we're going to be talking about 5 stocks that you can buy and hold forever. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to be talking about 5 stocks that I believe are going to be a fantastic buy. You know, just companies that are really solid that you can hold for a very long period of time. Now, of course, I'm not saying that these are absolutely 100% going to go up in value because all investing is speculative of the future, so you need to make your own decisions. However, having said that, I believe that these companies are going to continue to be really strong in the future, and these are ones that you just want to add to over time to build a bigger position. So the first one that I want to talk about is, of course, liking the video and hitting that subscribe button. Thank you so much for doing that. You know, it really makes a difference to this channel to get these videos out to a new audience. So please make sure you like and subscribe. But without further ado, let's get into it. So the first one that I think is going to be a great stock to buy and hold for many, many years, you know, we're talking decades out, is of course Google. Now there's a number of reasons why I believe that Google stock is going to be a fantastic buy for many years to come. The thing about Google is they have a finger in many different pies. And this is really important when you're looking at a business to have multiple vectors of growth. And this is something that Google has done really well, and they are just a cash flow machine. You know, they are throwing off so much money, they're making so much in profits that this is going to be a really great investment purely just on cash value alone, let alone what they're going to be doing in the future. So Google has a massive market share, which is something that's really important. You know, anyone else that wants to get into the search business, they're not going to be able to touch Google. They have such a massive moat and dominance in that market, and I personally believe that that is going to continue. And of course, you can see this amongst a lot of the other products that they have also. So if you had to ask me, you know, is Google going to be lower or higher in 30 to 40 years? I personally believe that Google is going to be more valuable over time. So for me, it seems to be quite a safe bet. So we're going to continue on to another stock that you can hold for the long term. Now, this next stock is, of course, Apple. Now, Apple's tech dominance is just unbelievable. You know, very much like Google, they have such a massive market share across computers and iPhone, across phones in general. You know, they're always moving into new spaces. There's been a bit of speculation that Apple is going to be moving into cars, which would make sense with their ecosystem. And that's the other thing that makes Apple such a great company that I believe will continue to grow in the future and definitely not get any smaller. And that is that their ecosystem is so sticky. And what I mean by that is all of their products work really well with one another. However, they don't work so well with things outside of the ecosystem. You know, you have a lot more difficulty. So if you're buying Apple stuff, you're pretty much forced to work within their ecosystem, which means, you know, you got the phone, you've got the computer, you might get yourself an iPad, and then eventually the Apple Car, if that ends up coming along, then all of your devices are going to work really well and really intuitively with that. However, if you've got a different brand of smartphone, you know, you might find it a bit more difficult to work in a car that Apple produces, for example. So this means that Apple is going to have consistent revenue growth as they continue to increase the price of their products over time. And same thing, if you had to ask me whether Apple is going to be higher or lower in 30, 40 years, you know, you're going to have to say higher. Okay, now stock number 3. Now, I'm going to be talking about an area which I think is going to be even more valuable in the future, and that's, of course, the cloud and cloud storage. You know, so over time, what we've seen is that cloud storage has become more and more important in our daily lives. You know, it's something that I use all the time, you know, every single day. I'm using cloud storage and just getting stuff off my hard drives into the cloud. So this is an area of growth, which I think is going to become even more important. So I think one of the companies that's really well positioned in this space, besides Google, is of course Dropbox. Now, Dropbox is growing revenues at roughly 10% a year, which is fantastic, and they're just going to be an absolute profit machine. So for these reasons, I think that Dropbox, if you had to ask me whether it's going to be lower or higher in 30, 40 years, you know, I think it's definitely going to be higher because cloud storage is something that's becoming integral in all of our lives. So there's a lot of different reasons why I believe that Dropbox will be much higher in that sort of time frame, and I think even in the next few years, Dropbox is going to be a lot more highly valued than that. They've got great consistent growth, and I think over time, that this is a stock that's going to be a great one for the long haul. Now, the next two stocks I'm going to talk about aren't going to be huge growers, but I think that they're stocks that are going to be incredibly consistent. I find it really hard to believe that you'd be losing money on them even after 30 or 40 years. Now, if you had to place a bet that communication is going to become more or less important in the future, which way are you going to go? I know the way that I'm going to go is that communication and being connected is going to be even more important in the future than it is now, and it's already absolutely paramount to business. So for this reason, I think that there's a company which throws off a fantastic dividend of 7%. It's massive dividend, which is, has a slow growth. It's kind of become a mature business, but I think that it's going to be something that's even more important in the future as our technology continues to upgrade. And that company is AT&T. Now, I don't think you're going to see much capital appreciation from this particular company. I think the dividend growth is fantastic. Getting thrown off like 7% roughly every single year is a great dividend yield. And I just can't see AT&T going away anytime soon. It's such a big company, really powerful, and they can obviously pivot into the latest technology quite quickly because they have such capital to play with. So I think for the long haul, AT&T is going to be a really safe stock to hold for the long term. Now, the last stock that I want to talk about is, of course, one of the Buffett favorites. So this is a stock that Warren Buffett holds, and he's held it for a very long time. And that's, of course, seen him become incredibly wealthy. Now, I don't think we're going to see quite the same growth as we've seen in the last 40 years or 50, 60 years from this particular company. But I believe that over the long term, this is going to be incredibly safe. And I don't believe that you would lose any money and you'd see capital appreciation over time. Because we need to remember that investing is not only about getting great gains, but it's also about risk prevention. Getting in stocks that have very little downside. And the stock that I'm talking about right now is CocaCola. Now, as I said, Coca-Cola is not going to be a massive growth name. You might see some 1 or 2% growth year over year, which is very low compared to a lot of other stocks that you can get in the stock market. But of course, they're throwing on a dividend around 2%, so that's something you'll be able to collect and reinvest over time. And the thing about Coke is that if there's any new competitors in the space, they'll be able to buy them up because they have so much cash. And we've seen them do this over the years. Coca-Cola has bought up so many companies in the food and drink space that they've been able to incorporate into their ecosystem along with their distribution chains. And it's such a mutually beneficial agreement for not only Coke, but also these other companies because they get access to the Coke distribution chain, which has been in place for a very long period of time. Like, you can't go anywhere without seeing Coca-Cola or any of the brands that Coke owns. So do I think this is something that's going to get bigger or smaller over time? It's absolutely not going to get any smaller unless something drastic changes. There's going to be more people on this planet, and that means that more people will be looking for Coca-Cola's beverages over time. So for this reason, it's not going to be a massive grower, but I feel like it's a very safe stock to be holding to prevent losing cash to inflation and seeing some appreciation and dividend growth over time. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'm glad you got this far in the video. For those of you that did get this far, I actually have a bonus stock, which I think is also going to be a great one, which is very much like Coke, where they buy up companies that come into their space and turn them into something bigger. Now, that stock is Facebook. Now, Facebook is a dream company. It's one of the best business models in the world. They just have all of their stuff on servers and deliver ads to people on their Facebook feed. That's basically what it is. So there's very little overhead for them compared to how much revenue they're generating. So Facebook obviously owns Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Messenger, and continue to look at different acquisitions. There's obviously Oculus Rift as well, which is going to be a big company in VR if that's a space that ever does take off. So we're going to see consistent revenue growth also from Facebook in the future. If you have to ask me, in 30 years or 40 years, is Facebook going to be bigger or smaller? Facebook has proven that they can consistently grow revenues over a long period of time. And I believe that Facebook is going to be much higher in the future. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gives you a few ideas and maybe some stocks that you can look into and see if it's a good buy for you. So make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. It really helps to get these videos out to more people. I'm hoping I can make a few more videos, but I need some more subscribers. Guys, you got to get the word out about this channel because hopefully I can provide some value to people. It's not too much effort to hit a subscribe button. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you later.